$20. 20 bucks. You're on the line for 20 bucks. They keep on paying, but no one is playing. And some nickels and some dimes. Boom, ba-dum, boom, boom. 20 bucks. Hi guys, it's Jabor from Montreal. I love their music. They've got a fantastic album out, a new one. So, I'm Baggy, Mrs. Calabash, come into my kitchen. And you can see we've got red and white, celebration of Canada Day. And today I'm going to make a meal, won't heat up the kitchen, doesn't take a lot of preparation, quick and easy, because I looked at the weather forecast for Canada Day and it looks as though it could be quite warm. Last year I barbecued. We had a big party, which we won't be doing this year, obviously. And I was so hot with the barbecuing, it made me feel quite ill and I couldn't really enjoy the rest of the day. So this is quick, easy to prepare, get my teeth in, won't break the budget. And it's it's chicken with cream, and I've put some mushrooms in, so cream, mushroom and Creole mustard. And the mustard has got a nice sharp flavour. I've given you the recipe to make the mustard, and it's the horseradish in the mustard which gives it that bite. The real Creole, spicy, creamy, sexy, sensuous dish. And skillet asparagus. Again, very easy to prepare, minimum prep. It's good for you, it's seasonal, and let's go back to the stove. I'll try not to freak Derek out today. I tell him I'm going to do something and then disappear. We do have, I don't know how he's managed it, but we do actually have the comments up. So when you join, I should be able to see you and answer any comments. So let's go back to the stove. Now I've got everything here. I've got a little pasta on the stove cooking, which I'm going to drain and put to one side. I used noodles, buttered noodles. I'm making buttered noodles, so there you are. Whoa, we nearly put out all the water. Let's just drain those. I'll put the lid back on to keep the heat in, and they will just cook a little bit more as they're draining. I just wanted to make sure that they were cooked, and if you joined me a couple of minutes ago, you would have seen me mopping up the stove. I did my favourite. I always seem to boil the noodles over, as you can see, the back of the stove. So here, I've got, let's just put that over there, a little sunflower oil and butter, and I just put a few chili flakes in there to melt the butter. And there's the recipe. Now it says 3 boneless skinless chicken breasts. It's about a pound in weight. I've got, it only took 2. They were quite large. And I'll wash my hands after I've touched this, but I like bite pieces of chicken. I don't like a big chicken breast. This is a personal choice. And of course it cooks quicker if you slice the chicken breast and just cut it up. And I seasoned it and then put it in the fridge this morning. Seasoning beforehand adds the flavour. The seasoning really, if you rub it into the chicken, it really does get into the chicken. So I'm just going to push these down, turn the heat up a minute or two, like that, and the chicken won't take long to cook at all. So I'm going to wash my hands now because I've been touching the raw meat. And don't forget, if you have a chopping board and a knife and you've been cutting raw meat of any description, take it away immediately, wash it under hot soapy water, and then there's no risk of contamination. So I'm just going to put this over here. Wash my hands. I've lost the camera. Wash my hands. There we are. So back to the stove. It's smelling rather nice actually. Now this is browning nicely, and we've got garlic and onion. I'm going to add the garlic and onion now. I've used a sweet onion today with garlic. The recipe, like this recipe, is just a guideline. It's not written in stone. Now I've added a few more mushrooms because I'm very fond of mushrooms. But if you don't like mushrooms, leave the mushrooms out and put something else in there. You could put some zucchini. Zucchini's nice in there. You know, you don't, just because it says mushroom, you don't have to put the mushrooms in. I like to use a little button mushroom for this if possible, but it's not always possible to find. And today I've just got a white mushroom which I slice, and don't forget, the more you slice it, the more flavour comes out. So we'll add some mushroom in there. Ugh. So this is really, really quick and easy to do. So we've got the mushroom in, the garlic. I'm going to add the corn now at this stage, and this is frozen corn. In summer, by all means, use fresh corn. If you don't have frozen or fresh, drained canned corn, but make sure it's drained well. You don't want the extra liquid. And we've got a little cayenne pepper. Let me just make sure that I've got the right, yes. Now, it's quarter to half a teaspoon. There's half a teaspoon here of cayenne pepper. I like it nice and spicy. If you don't like it as spicy as me, start off with about 1/8 of a teaspoon and just add. When I used to do What's for Dinners before the virus hit at Stittsville, the ladies really didn't like anything spicy, and they used to complain, and I used to turn down the spices, tune it down, and they used to say, it's too spicy, we can't eat it. So it's a matter of choice. But this is Creole cooking, so we want to make sure. There, look at that. Oh, I've got a drop of white wine here. It wouldn't be Creole without some wine and some spices. There we are. Just bring this up to the boil. And we'll check for seasoning after we've just brought everything down. Some chicken stock. I had a chicken carcass the other day from a chicken that I'd cooked, and I had some stock left over when I boiled up the bones. Normally I would have made soup straight away, but I mean, it's too hot today for soup. So we're going to just let this cook. I want it to cook. Bring it up and let it to cook. And I'm going to put the lid on like that. And I'm going to move this over there and bring this one forward. And then we can add, oh, I've got to add the cream and honey. I haven't got any honey on the list. I'm leaving the honey out for sweetness. That's why I didn't put it in the recipe. About a teaspoonful of honey. I'll add it to the recipe, to the ingredients before I put it up online. I remember looking at it and thinking, well, I never put honey in, but the original recipe does have honey. But we need to put I'm going to turn that down for a minute or two, go back to the stove, and we're going to make the Creole mustard to go in here. So come back to the butcher block with me. That will just cook gently whilst we're there. So come back. Now, Creole mustard is it's quite spicy, as I said before. Very easy to make. You can buy it commercially, but I'm not sure if you can buy it commercially around here. I've never seen any. I've always made my own. And I've got whole wheat mustard, whole grain mustard, Dijon mustard. In here, Tabasco and Worcestershire sauce. Just mix it together. And this is the secret ingredient, horseradish. Now I'm going to taste that just to make sure that there is enough horseradish in there. If you're lucky enough to be able to harvest your own horseradish, you won't need quite so much because it's very, very potent. I tried to make horseradish sauce commercially, and I got goggles, and really all the room, my prep room whilst I was doing it, was all the doors and windows were open, and I just got tears streaming down my face. It was so strong. So I said to my business partner, I don't think that we're going to bother manufacturing horseradish sauce. You know, just buy it. So let's try. Wow. Oh yes, that is good. It's got a really strong bite to it. Again, if you don't like the hot spiciness, cut back on the horseradish. So let's go back to the stove. How much horseradish do I need? How much? 1 teaspoon of Creole mustard. There we are. Now, this I will cover and put in a container and store it in the fridge, and then I've got the mustard whenever I need it. There we are. And at this stage, I'm going to have a taste. I've still got the fieriness in my mouth from the horseradish. It's going to need a little salt added to that. And now normally I use my own mix here, but I don't want to add any pepper to it. At the moment, I just want to add salt. Just a little sea salt. Now we're going to add some cream to this, so that's going to take away some of the fieriness. Let's have another taste. Whoops, that's a fork. That won't get me very far. It doesn't taste at all fiery now. So let's add the cream. I'm using 18%, 35% cream. So if it boils, it's not going to separate. We're going to turn that up. And whilst I'm cooking the asparagus, that will just, the creamy sauce will just thicken. And the cream is a liaison. That means it's a thickener. And it binds everything together. It brings out the nice buttery flavour. So let's just turn that off. Then I don't set my tea towel alight. There we are. Switch that on. Whew, it's getting warm in here. So in here I've just got some butter. I love Canada Day. You see, I'm dressed in red and white. I've got the flag and the red and white flowers. And when we lived in France, we had Bastille Day. And so it was just a similar, it's Day of Independence. It was a celebration day. And it was lovely because I had the restaurant. We opened very early in the morning for breakfast. Everybody arrived, lunch was out. We had the tables out on the sidewalk. There was a band, a concert going all day. It was just a lovely day. We were only a very, very small village, but we had a big campsite. So we had lots of visitors because it was the summer and it was great. Now, I've melted this. I'm just going to add the garlic in there. Just a little crushed garlic. And a pinch of crushed peppers. And at night, because there was a concert going all day, we had visiting guests and local people, school kids, and then come about 6 o'clock, all the market stalls and everything would disappear, and there was a stage and a band and a dance. And about 10 o'clock at night, the village band would go down the street and we'd all watch them and trail them and go down to where the bonfire and the fireworks were. And my daughter used to play the flute in the band. And the bandmaster, he knew I liked jazz. And he used to come and serenade me. And he used to stand on the steps of the restaurant and he'd play the saxophone. And oh my goodness, could he play? And it was just a fantastic day. And then midnight, everything would close down. And when you got up in the morning, there wasn't a sign of yesterday's activities. The streets had been cleaned, everything had been tidied away, there was no litter, there was nothing. It was incredible. So I've got good memories of Canada Day like that. This year's going to be a little bit different, but we'll make the most of it. So I've got asparagus here, and I just clipped the ends, just broke the ends off. And the way to keep asparagus is just stand it in some water and keep it in the fridge, and it will stay fresh. So we're going to lay the asparagus in the butter, and it doesn't take long to cook at all. I've said before, I was very surprised when we lived in France that you didn't have green asparagus. It was white because it was blanched. The soil was piled over, and then you'd see them during the day, usually early in the morning because it was quite hot, even where we were in northern France, and you'd see them digging out the asparagus, and it was all, is that one? Yeah. And it was all harvested by hand. And as I said, we used to do Laval Market on a Saturday, or Kate's dad did. I usually stayed at home and saw to the restaurant. And I was doing the market, I was helping him one day, around this time of the year. And the lady behind came with a flatbed truck, opened it up and just piled the stall with asparagus. And it was incredible. And she hadn't got a piece of asparagus left by about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It had all been sold. Now, I like asparagus, and I thought I was pretty creative in cooking asparagus. I like asparagus soup, asparagus quiche, you name it, I like asparagus. And even I got fed up with asparagus that year. It was an excellent year for asparagus. And all the customers, I'd get up in the morning and there'd be a basket of asparagus outside the door. It was lovely. And one of the favourite appetizers was just asparagus cooked like this, very gently, some lemon juice on it and some oil and vinegar. And that was one of the favourite summer starters. Very easy to prepare, and it was eaten cold. So that was nice. I'm going to, I don't want to overcook this because I want to keep it nice, and I can tell that it's just about ready for eating. I want to keep it nice and green, and lovely. There we are. Ooh. I'm turning it, as you can see, because I want to make sure that it's got butter all over it. Just going to turn that down whilst I go back to the butcher block, and we'll serve up the chicken. Just make sure that the chicken is cooked. It looks as though it's well and truly cooked by now. And you see there's a nice sauce there. It's not that spicy. In fact, it's not really spicy at all. It's just got a nice warmth. And I am going to put just a sprinkling of Mrs. Calabash seasoning on it. It just needs a little pepper on there. Okay, so we'll leave that on there for a minute. Let's go back to the butcher block. I'll cut up the lemon to go onto with the asparagus. So come back with me. Now we've got lemon, we've got peppers, a tomato. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to need at the moment. I like lemon with the chicken and with the asparagus. Oh, look, we've got plenty of pips in this one. So let's just cut some wedges. Get rid of that. And we'll wait and see with the other garnish just what we need. Because we're going to put some thyme on the chicken, some fresh thyme. And I've got a mixture of thymes. I've got English thyme, citron thyme. I bought a mixture of thymes. I've got them in the rockery. I used to have just a rockery full of different sorts of thyme plants. There we are. we've got those there. Let's go back. Oh, whoops, it didn't break. There we are. Switch that off. Ooh, I've left plenty of juice there so that it all soaks into the noodles. So there we are. The noodles are drained. Let's just make sure they're separated. I haven't rinsed. Sometimes you will see in recipes to rinse the noodles. I'm not rinsing the noodles for one reason. I want to keep the starch on there because that is what holds the sauce onto the noodles. So that's why I don't want to rinse them. So you see all that sauce goes into the noodles. You can serve this over couscous, rice, quinoa, whatever. Rice would probably be a little bit more traditional, but as you know, Derek doesn't like rice. I'm very fond of quinoa, but I thought we'd just do the noodles today. Just wipe up the board. There we are, just turn those off. Where's my thyme? Here we are. Some fresh thyme. There we are, hoo-hoo. And lemon wedges. Some lemon, and let's go for a little green. All these have been rinsed. You could put sprigs of thyme or tarragon on there. I never thought actually I could have brought in some fresh tarragon. Mine's doing very well at the moment in the garden. Let's just add a little colour. There we are. Woohoo! Move that to one side because I want the lemons for the asparagus. There we are. Let's move these. And you see, it's Canada Day. So let's get the pretty pottery out. We've got our nice red pottery today for serving on. So I will be dishing up with the red pottery. And we need Parmesan cheese. Now the Parmesan cheese I normally put on top of the asparagus. If you have a problem with dairy, then because you've got cream in the sauce for the chicken, then leave the Parmesan off. But I think it adds a nice flavour to it. So over we go. I need my cloth. And you can see I've got my old Royal Worcester out, and believe it or not, look, it's got asparagus on there and lemon, so it was asking for it. Oh, lovely. This is a pound of asparagus that I've got here. I weighed it just to make sure. And I'm going to put the butter and the chilies on there and the garlic. There we are. A little parmesan. If you're not quite sure, if you've got visitors coming and you're not quite sure if they like the parmesan, just serve the parmesan separately and let them help themselves. And again, lemon. The lemon just adds the freshness. And what I like to do is make sure that everybody's got a wedge of lemon, and then they can put the lemon juice on the plate, ready for eating. So, happy Canada Day. That is my idea of a quick dish for Canada Day. It's taken half an hour from start to finish, and even today the kitchen isn't too hot, and I do think it started to rain. I'd just like to say that we're not having a show on Tuesday. I've got a day full of appointments. It just happened that way, and you'll all be too busy getting ready for Canada Day. So I'll see you again next Friday, and thank you so much for watching. Have a brilliant Canada Day. Enjoy, stay safe, and enjoy with friends. I'm too early. 20 bucks. 20 bucks. We're on the line for 20 bucks. Red and white. Whoa. We all match. Some nickels and some dimes. Thanks very much, everybody. Have a marvellous Canada Day. And I'll see you next week, next Friday. It's going to be something very simple. I think we're all cooked out. What with Father's Day and Canada's Day, I think we're saying, whoa, I've had enough of cooking. So I've got something really quite interesting for you. 9 for 20 bucks.